And to the point that they would take the Ark of the Covenant into battle as if it was a token of God's, power. We'll bring this box into battle, and we'll beat you, Philistines. I really think the process of God hardening Pharaoh's heart was to make sure that that whole Exodus experience would be understood by Israel, that this is a miracle. This is God's doing.
Relish, pleasing or zestful flavor.
A quantity just sufficient to flavor, to be pleased or gratified by, enjoy.
We are hoping that what we bring to your table today might add some spice to your life.
Welcome back to another episode of Relish. I am Roa Miller. This is Pastor Don Patterson.
Yes, right.
Yep.
Got that right.
Yep. How are you doing today, Don?
I'm doing all right.
That's good.
Yes. We're getting far enough down into June that, yes, I'm doing all right. Summer's halfway over.
Yeah. Almost back in.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Time goes so quickly.
Yeah. You ready for these tough questions?
Oh, I have one for you.
Okay.
Let's do this one first.
Sounds good.
What do you think it means to give thanks in all circumstances? And that's thinking of Thessalonians 5:18, giving thanks in all circumstances.
Yeah. It's just not taking things for granted. I think of, like when something doesn't go right, obviously, like when I've had injuries. So like in injuries in sports, then it makes you thankful for being able to like play that sport when you are healthy.
Yeah.
I guess I'm struggling how to say it here, but yeah, just not taking things for granted, and you don't truly miss something, or you're not truly thankful for something until you don't have it.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's true. So it's an awareness kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're so young. You'll have some other experiences.
Yeah. I'm sure. Alrighty. How did the Roman rule allow the early church to expand so fast?
Oh, okay. Well, that almost goes back to this question: give thanks for all things in all circumstances. It's unique. It's interesting that the Christ experience, that's meaning his coming to earth when he did, not 25 years earlier or 25 years later, uniquely fits in that time frame where Rome was actually, even though it was made everybody subject to it, you really didn't have any rights unless you were a Roman citizen,
right?
Which Paul could boast of.
Yeah.
And that really worked in his advantage,
Got out of a couple of situations.
And so it came at such a time. They were building roads. They made sure the commerce system was fluid. They had a commerce language. They actually created ways that the gospel could move quickly over long periods. And it's amazing, during that period of time, before Nero got in there and got crazy and things like that, during that time that Christ lived and died, and the apostles began, the church began, and then in chapter 8 it dispersed. Even that, I think, was preordained, that in Acts chapter 8, because of the persecution levied on Stephen, and what Paul then would do would drive a lot of the Christians out of Jerusalem, and they would take the gospel with them. And they would take them on roads. I mean, there was a lot of ability to get from one place to another just because of the road system. If that's just the one thing you take from what the Romans brought to civilization that helped drive the gospel, the roads.
Yeah, you can now travel anywhere.
Exactly.
Quickly, so.
Exactly. The second thing would be the language. So our New Testament is written in Koine Greek, which was a language that was understood. I mean, even to this day is understood within the Greek dialects. And is understood, it's translated, it's easily to move into Latin or other, like German.
Yeah.
Those dialects that grew out of the Greek roots.
Okay.
So that all happened because Rome conquered the Holy Land.
Yeah.
So here, this terrible thing, and the thing that the Jews were mourning about was actually a vessel that would help move the gospel out of the Holy Land and into the whole rest of the world.
Mhm.
I mean, we have Thomas going as far as India,
Yeah.
and how'd that happen? Because of the way the Rome had influenced the world and how things were moving. So, did I answer the question?
I believe so.
I'm sorry, there was a couple rabbit trails I got on there. But it such a negative thing, such an oppressive system, actually became the means by which the gospel got as far as it did so quickly.
Mhm.
Because within 100 years, it had gone through three continents, touched 3 continents. And that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And they have this,
God. That's
Yeah.
God at work.
since it was all the Romans, they have this protection from within the Roman Empire, that safety from the other nations. So
That's true. And it was broad and protected, and then Nero comes, and then
right.
things get a little dicey at that point.
Right.
Mhm. Good question.
What is the difference between the Sadducees, Pharisees, Essenes, and Zealots?
Okay, well, the Sadducees and the Pharisees were part of the Sanhedrin, so they were like political parties, if you will.
Okay.
The Pharisees were more conservative, to the letter kind of folk, and they believed in the resurrection. That's why when you get to Acts chapter 4, it's the Sadducees that bring Peter and John before the Sanhedrin, not the Pharisees. Pharisees agreed with them on the resurrection, but the Sadducees were not sad. Were sad, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
sad, you see. And so they did not bring that on. So they were a more progressive, if you will, group, maybe more tied to Rome, and just want to just keep everything cool. They would be more, let's see, they would be more the kind that would say, it's our religion, maybe not our faith.
Oh.
And so it's a little bit more of that.
Tradition.
Well, there'd be a tradition to it. They just wouldn't be quite so rigid in their understanding of the Old Testament, the Talmud.
Yeah.
And so they'd be more fluid, it's all right.
This is all under the Jewish umbrella.
Sanhedrin, yes. And so then the Essenes actually were sort of a religious group, separate, and they actually had established a community in Qumran that would they held Scripture to very important, very high. They actually were the ones that, knowing that there was persecution coming, they sealed, especially the books of Isaiah and some other parchments, in clay jars and put them in caves. We would discover them in the 1950s. They would be called the Dead Sea Scrolls. And the Essenes are the ones that kept that. John the Baptist was actually out of the Essene community, had training in the Essene community, and they were the ones that held baptism so high.
Yeah.
And that's how John the Baptist sort of got his background in baptizing people. They baptized for sin all the time. That was their mode. Yeah. Baptized for the forgiveness of sins. And that's the message that John would carry from the wilderness, in the wilderness. And that's where he would baptize Jesus. Now, the fourth group.
Zealots.
Oh, the Zealots. Okay. They would also be outside the Sanhedrin, for surely. But they were carrying, they were armed, what do you call them? Mercenaries, I guess you would,
Oh,
that would make sure that at any point they could take a Roman down, they would,
wow.
if they wouldn't have to pay a price for it.
Yeah.
And Barabbas
Oh,
would have
yeah.
been a zealot,
Okay.
and he had already murdered some Romans, and they weren't really happy letting him go, but that's what the crowd wanted. And yeah, so they were murderous, cantankerous. So when you take that in mind and remember that Simon was a zealot and was one of the disciples, can you imagine how spicy conversations were around the campfire of an evening?
Uh-huh.
Because you had Simon the zealot there, and you've got Matthew, the tax collector.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't go well. And here Jesus had chosen these people to be around his inner core
Mm-hmm.
in the midst of this political environment.
Right.
He would always be taken to task by the Pharisees and Sadducees. But it's, if you read the text carefully, you'll notice that when it comes to resurrection, it's the Sadducees that bring the question. Okay, so this man dies and he leaves a widow. And the widow marries the brother. And the widow marries the next brother. And the widow, that's the Sadducees guys that bring that question. Because they don't believe in the resurrection, so they don't believe any of it.
Right.
And so yeah, it's just interesting. When you know that in the background, then you start reading these interactions between the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and Jesus in a little different light.
Yeah. I think it'd be so interesting to like go back in that time and like try to understand the mind of like a Sadducee, for example, who like is on the earth when Jesus was crucified, killed, put in a tomb.
Why doesn't he understand?
Comes up and is walking again.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
And I really think that's why in chapter 4 they have such a hard time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sad, you see, that none of them saw Jesus after he was raised from the dead. We don't have any Sadducees seeing Jesus.
Yeah.
That probably would have taken care of that problem. Had a couple Sadducees. Yeah, we have Nicodemus, and guys like that, but they're Pharisees.
Yeah.
They believe in resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good question. Provocative question.
Yeah. Back to the Old Testament. Kind of been jumping around, but
it's all right.
Why does the Lord harden Pharaoh's heart when Moses is going to set his people free?
I really think the process of God hardening Pharaoh's heart was to make sure that that whole Exodus experience would be understood by Israel, that this is a miracle. This is God's doing. They can't take any credit for it.
Yeah.
And I think hardening Pharaoh's heart each time he does it, and there's a couple times he sort of wavers, and then he gets hard again. I think it's to help us understand that God is in control. God's got ultimate power, ultimate authority, and by him, God, hardening Pharaoh's heart, it became an example that God's going to do exactly what needs to be done to make sure that this honor, this glory doesn't go to Moses and it doesn't go to Pharaoh, but it's all God.
Yeah.
And I think that's why even to this day among the Jews, they talk about the Passover and what God passed over that night, and then the Exodus itself.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't Moses that did it. He was an instrument in its happening, but he didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, then even later, like when they're in the wilderness and like Israel just as a nation after that, and when they're struggling and like God keeps trying to bring them back, like, am I not the one that brought you out of Egypt? Like he always references that, and that's like part of his identity to him.
It is. And what's interesting is they keep forgetting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to study, we just finished studying Samuel 3 and 4 and 5 and 7. And they're so fast to forget. It doesn't seem that many generations, but all of a sudden they don't remember Jesus, remember God anymore and what God had done in the Exodus. No, they're totally oblivious.
Yeah.
And to the point that they would take the Ark of the Covenant into battle as if it was a token of God's, power. We'll bring this box into battle, and we'll beat you Philistines. And evidently, they were believing in the box more than they believed in God.
I think God made the right call there.
I think he did. I think he made the right call. And it becomes a lesson to us, doesn't it? In what we do today, because it's not about us. It's about God. It's about what he's wanting to do through us and in us and in our communities that we're a part of. It's not about us. We become vessels, tools, if you will, through which God can manifest himself and make things happen. Yeah. I believe in miracles.
Yep.
I'm not splitting any, I mean, I wouldn't even walk up to a swimming pool and think I could split it. No.
Much less try to walk on it.
No, I'm not going to walk on it either. And because that's not who we are. But if God chooses to manifest through us, hey, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. I think the hardening of Pharaoh's heart was to make the miracle so dynamic, people could not deny it. Of course, they'd forget it. That's past tense.
Right.
Sort of like people treat the Bible today. Well, that's old stuff. I mean, really.
Right.
A lot of people do treat the Bible like it's old stuff instead of something that speaks into our lives, even in here and now. Yeah.
All righty. Well, I think we exhausted those questions.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. Let us know if we need to go a little deeper into some of these questions.
Yeah, and we're talking about how can we go deeper here in the future in our relish. Add a little extra spice, maybe some jalapeno to spice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe share the video if you thought it was interesting. Share it with somebody else who would think it was interesting. Thank you, Don, as always. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Ron. Lord willing.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast. Feel free to become part of this ministry by sharing it with others. Our goal is to help each other grow deeper in our understanding of who God is and His calling to us in our daily lives. Thank you again for joining us, and may God bless your day.